Alright guys, so now let's talk about Scream, or Scream 5, or Scream 2022, whatever you want to call it, let's talk about it. And first I'm going to read what I put on social media right after I saw it. Alright. I saw Scream 5 today, aka Scream 2022. In a lot of ways, this was a love letter to the first movie. This is the first Scream movie not directed by Wes Craven, who passed away a few years ago. At the end, 4 Wes appeared on the screen. I felt that. This is all about honoring what came before while forging a new path. Much like Ghostbusters Afterlife, the presence of the legacy characters of Sidney, Gale, and Dewey are felt throughout the movie, but they are no longer the focus. Also, like Ghostbusters Afterlife, Sidney, Gale, and Dewey indeed do get their moments to shine. And although they do not appear on screen, or do they? Billy, Stu, and Randy are also felt very much in this film. You should rewatch Scream and Scream 4 before seeing this one. The movie offers commentary on toxic fandom, and it steps up the gore, even if the body count is lesser than in previous installments. If you're a fan of the franchise, you will come away very satisfied. If you aren't, I think there's still some fun to be had here, but you might often feel like you are on the outside of an inside joke. So much of this movie depends on what has happened before, especially the first movie. Being a fan, I liked it quite a bit. And yeah, I did. I liked it quite a bit. I thought that the new Scream was very well done. My biggest concern going in was this being the first movie not directed by Wes Craven, that they would try to do something so different that it no longer felt like it was a part of the Scream franchise. But everything about this movie, right down to how it felt, the tone of it, the lighting of it, the dialogue, the town of Woodsboro, the legacy characters, everything about it felt like it belonged, like it could easily be inserted right into the Scream franchise. And I thought that was phenomenal. That alleviated my biggest worry. After that was alleviated, for me, all they had to do was tell a competent Scream story, and I was going to be happy. And it was more than competent, it was very well done. As I said in my social media, it addressed toxic fandom. Now, I think that Hollywood has to be careful when addressing toxic fandom, because when they're addressing toxic fandom, what they are doing is they're addressing fans. And you never want to go to war with fans. And there was some positive interpretation of fandom in this movie, but not much. Most of fandom was kind of derided in this movie. And like I said, I feel like they need to be careful with that moving forward. But I think that they handled it good enough here that it wasn't a problem. As I said, the kills were much more gory this time around. There was especially a kill involving a neck that I thought was, extremely gory. But there was nothing that I felt was too over the top or in the realm of anything that was just gratuitous like Saw or anything like that. I felt that it was still very in line with what you normally get in a slasher film like this. It might have just stepped it up a little bit, but it was still very in line with what you would normally get in the slasher genre, and especially in the Scream genre, or in the Scream franchise. The new characters I thought were mostly compelling. Some of them were a little vanilla, some of them were a little forgettable, but the characters that I believe will continue this franchise, I liked all of them. Now, if I say who, I'm going to be offering up big spoilers, so let me just say that there are a couple characters who survived, and the ones who did survive, I will be perfectly happy with them taking the franchise on from here. I do think that this installment closed the book on Sidney, Gale, and Dewey's involvement in the franchise, and at this point, I think that's okay. There wasn't much for them to do anyway in this film. Like I said, it was very much in the same vein of Ghostbusters Afterlife, where they were not in it much. Their presence was felt the entire time, but they just weren't in the movie a whole lot. And when they were in the movie, I didn't feel like they had a lot to do. So I feel like following the rules of the reboot You know, you have to have the legacy characters there to legitimize it, but now, moving forward, I don't think that the legacy characters have to be there, especially if they include the characters that survived this film. Overall, I feel that this movie was a win. There was a lot of excitement after the early screenings where everybody was saying this was the best thing since the original. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. There were some things that I wanted to happen that people speculated online that was going to happen that did not happen. And that left me kind of let down. But at the same time, as a fan, it's my own fault for putting expectations on this film. So we want to talk about toxic fandom. You know, it's something we all do. We all do it sometimes. So I had expectations on this film that if they didn't do what I wanted them to do, then I wasn't going to be, you know, as happy as I could be. And here we are. They didn't do exactly what I wanted them to do, so I'm not as happy as I could be. That's what fandom is, I guess. But I was very satisfied at the end. As a fan of the original movie and as a fan of the franchise, I was very happy with where they went with this. So yeah, you know, I'd give this a solid B, maybe a B+. It was very well done, and it definitely honored what Wes had done before, what Wes Craven had done before. So what did you think of Scream 2022? Let me know in the comments down below.